What does it mean to be sovereign? What does it mean? Because you hear a lot of people talking about it, don't you? Especially on my show, people have been saying, oh, yes, we've got to be sovereign. We've got to be sovereign. Sovereignty is everything. And then we hear about the WEF or the WHO sort of trying to grab countries' sovereignty. What does it actually mean to be sovereign? And are you sovereign? Do you feel sovereign? Do you look sovereign? Are you playing the part of a sovereign? Are you king? I mean, sovereigns, apart from the gold coins, of course, which are gold coins, sovereign, it's very nice, isn't it? It's sort of, it has a certain prestige about it, doesn't it? Being sovereign. And I think it's a good thing. So we're hearing about being sovereign all the time, and I just thought in this monologue today, as I was recording this, I was thinking about it. So I had a quick look here at the sovereign. I mean, you think a sovereign is the sovereign of the land, like the king or the queen. So I thought I'll have a quick look at fairy tale king and queens to begin with. So here we go. If we have a look at images, this is on Google, of course. If we have a look at the images of fairy tales, this is just what comes up. There we are. Fairy tale kings and queens. And as you can see, look, there we are. They're all wearing their crowns and they're looking very happy, some of them. And some strange looking people there. But on the whole, the fairy tale ones, look at them. They've got their castles, they've got their thrones, they've got their dominion. I like this one. That's a nice little picture there with a big castle. I don't know if you can see it down here. Look, let me see if I can make that a bit bigger. That's quite nice. Can I make that even bigger? Let me just see if I can make that just a tad bigger. There we are. Look at that. Big castle. That's their home. And there they are, very proud. And notice no chemtrails, no roadworks, no members of the council popping about looking after them or anything. Absolutely brilliant. So that's the fairy tale sovereigns, if you like, the kings and the queens. They have their dominion. They have their domain. And in some of their cases, wherever they look, as far as the eye can see, they can see their domain. So how about sovereignty? Let's have a look at sovereignty in and of itself then, put that word into and have a quick search around there. What does it mean? And we see these sort of very... we see these powerful signs of people who are in power. Sovereignty, what does it mean? We, the people, look at that... all this sort of pride and power and being independent, I suppose, coming up. What does it mean to be sovereign? You've got all these sort of questions. And then finally, I want to just have a look through history. The kings and queens through history, and of course a lot of British ones have come up here, and again we see them with their crowns and they look very regal and they're very sovereign and they've dressed up and they've got their portraits and they're they're very expensive and they look powerful and they act powerful. Well, isn't that the thing? The thing about sovereignty is we're told, we're all born equal. There's nobody above us. There's nobody above us. If we're all sovereign, then it means everybody's sovereign. Everybody. In which case, there's no power struggle at all. Everybody is the same. Nobody can be above them unless they acquiesce, unless they give the jurisdiction away, unless they consent to something and agree. And we all have to consent to something, don't we? Otherwise we'll never get on. We can't all be walking around as some regal king of our own domain and going, I'm not taking any notice of you, mate, because we'll never get anything done. We do need things done, don't we? We need butchers, bakers, candlestick makers. We need people to help us. And in that, but if they are sovereign as well, and say, what are you doing in my shop? This is my shop. You can't come in here. This is my shop. Leave me alone. Well, that would be a pathetic way to run a shop, saying nobody comes in. This is my domain, because you wouldn't make any money, would you? Obviously. And as sovereign, if we live in the sovereign world that we understand sovereignty to mean, which is to do no harm, we can't be like those sovereigns of the past where you go, right, come on, we're going to raid that bunch over there and nick their cattle, like in what we believe to have been the Neolithic times with the hill forts, or the Iron Age time with their hill forts, where the cattle rustlers who would come in and steal their stuff and we'll attack them. That's not doing no harm, is it? So they've already broken that rule, and so karma is going to come round and get them and bite them in the bum. So clearly, if you're a sovereign and you have a domain and you are all powerful in your domain, you have your family, who each member of your family, of course, presumably after a certain age, say 18, are all sovereign in and of themselves, and you're not going to do harm to them, but you're protecting them. Then surely when you need something, oh, hang on a minute, I need a chimney sweep to clean my chimney. You must then say, well, you can come into my house. You're consenting. I will pay you some sovereigns for you to clean my chimney. And the chimney sweep, who's sovereign in and of himself, well, I am a chimney sweep, and I sweep chimneys. I am the best chimney sweep in the land. And that may be true, but he says, well, I need a bit of money, don't I? So I am happy to consent to going up your chimney and cleaning it. But you're beginning to barter. You're exchanging your labour for something in exchange. It might be gold sovereigns. It may be money, it may be food. You may be going, I'll clean your chimney and you can cook me a meal, and you come to an agreement as grown-ups. But here we are in this world today, and it seems that we've all become meek and mild and allowed these people who think they are sovereign, these councillors, these government officials, these kings and queens and people who sort of have money, these WEF members, unelected, unaccountable, to rule our lives and say how we are going to have things, and you're going to have a certain medical intervention. People in professions that we sort of, oh, you're a doctor, you're telling me what I should have. Come in, sit down. Now I'll tell you what's wrong with you. Take these pills and you'll be fine. Go away, snivelling little git. Excuse me? We need to raise our thoughts here, do we not? We need to understand, hang on a second, we can all be sovereign, and you have no more power than me, but we can negotiate. You can't talk to me like that. Imagine, for example, you're one of these people who, because we're all trapped in this system at the moment. We're all working out a way to get out of the system. And let's say you're one of those people who have yet to work out how to get in the system. You're understanding sovereignty, but you've been misled, as we all have, and for some reason, whatever it is, education hasn't been given to you, and perhaps you haven't had the opportunities of life, and you happen to have very little money, and you need to go to the state, let's say, and in order to survive, you've been one of these unfortunate people who have to go on this rather horrible and nasty thing called universal benefit. And let's just take that as an example. And you're sovereign, you're a good individual, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, no one is above you, but when you go in to claim money that the state has said, that we the people have said, okay, we'll allow this to happen, that the officials behind the desk treat you, and I've heard this in emails, people have told me this, how that they felt bullied, that they've been felt intimidated by these people sitting in an office under fluorescent lights, however many, 8 hours a day. I mean, insignificant people sitting in these offices looking down at you because you've come in, and they look at you as if you're some pauper with a begging bowl. And you're not, of course. You're just as sovereign as they are. In fact, you're all equal. No one's above each other. In fact, you're probably having a much better life than they are, sitting in there thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to do this for 8 hours. And so they treat you as if, well, what have you been doing? Have you not been looking for work? What kind of a person are you? And you say, hang on a second. We're all sovereign here. My man, you are my servant, actually. You're working for the UK corporation. Actually, you are my servant. And I think we should treat these people with respect, but let's not look meek and mild and hold the begging bowl and go, oh, please, please, I need some money and whatever. We're all sovereign people. Now, you may disagree with this. You may disagree and you may argue, but some people are in lower status and other people in higher status. I disagree. We're all in the same status. There's no higher or lower status. We're all in the same. We should treat each other with respect. We should treat each other honourably. And we should give each other the benefit of the doubt. But we don't. We see that. We see people sort of using their ego to get above each other and all of this. And it's a dreadful situation. So what does it mean to be sovereign to you? There comes the council demanding some money. Oh, you parked in this place. You shouldn't be parking here, you fool. Hang on a minute. So maybe we as sovereign, to help us understand what it is, we should act like the kings. We should behave like the king. Not in an arrogant fashion, but we should perhaps dress, perhaps, a little bit more elegantly. I'm not saying you don't have to. I'm not arguing that anybody could, you dress exactly how you like. But it's that inner thought that you're dressing elegantly, that you're putting yourself, I am, because if you're not able to, let's say, fully comprehend that you are a king in your own being, then sometimes wearing the clobber of a king, not crowns and silly jewellery and capes and all of that, but feeling, whatever makes that feeling in you give you the sovereignty that makes you feel that you are actually in control. Whatever that is, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've met many a millionaire when I used to do corporate videoings and stuff, and I'd meet these millionaires, and they were the scruffiest people you've ever met. But they could afford to look scruffy because they knew in and of themselves that they had the money in the bank. But we have the money in the bank in our mental bank. We have it. We have our sovereignty. But sometimes in order to get that and to understand that power, the wonderful, amazing power within, sometimes it is necessary to put on a suit or a cravat or whatever it is to make you feel, actually, I am sovereign. You're not doing it for the other person's sake. You're doing it for your own sake. To go, yes, you're standing up straight. You're breathing in deeply. You're feeling good. You're not sort of bent double and going, oh, look, I am sovereign. Who's going to believe that? Perhaps we do need to act a bit more like the kings to help ourselves get into that sovereignty and push back. And when we want to consent and give jurisdiction because we need their services, that's fine. There's no problem. Come in, clean my chimney. You'd like to cook for me? That's great. I will repay you with this. We negotiate. You come to an agreement, and each other will have something from it. You are both mutual. You treat each other with respect. But that to me is a beginning of a sense of what it is to be sovereign, not to be ruled by these acts and statutes that somebody else has made up. I mean, were you there when they made them up, when they drew them all up? These rules, do they apply to you? Do they apply to you? How do you know they apply to you? Just because somebody said, oh yes, they apply to you, all right. Well, how do you know? You don't know? How do you know? I'm the same status as you. You're no higher than me just because you've written something on a bit of paper and you're handing it to me. I don't know that that's necessarily true. Thank you very much. Who is giving you your authority? Have you got it from the maker yourself? Oh no, we've got it from the council. We're from the council. You owe us this money. Well, hang on. Have I agreed to any of this? At what point in life did I say, do you know what, I will agree to this? Now, if you have agreed to it, that's a different thing, isn't it? It's a completely different thing. So sovereignty is very important. It's very important that we hold on to that sense of who we are and what we are as sovereign people going about. It doesn't mean to say we've got to be lording it up ourselves and going, oh, I don't talk to you, I don't talk to you. But that sense of who we are so that we treat each other with respect, we're humble, and we when we need to, we make mutual agreements with one another that benefits all. If people are trying to make an agreement with you that doesn't benefit you at all, then I would hesitate to walk away. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to walk away. I would walk away. I'm sorry, that doesn't benefit me at all. You're coming around saying, you're demanding money from me, and where is your authority from, mate? So I don't know if that's answered any of the questions about what sovereignty is, but it's been fascinating over the last 16 months or so, learning about all of this and sort of letting it, what would you say, crystallize into my head what it means. Sovereignty. What does it mean for you?